unless there's somewhere else.
That sounds
Makes
good.
sense.
I mentioned to him that we might be able to fit him in around 8 after we get done with some of the stuff.
Okay.
But it's up to you,
Let's,
Brian.
let's do it that way before the executive sessions.
Number 18.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
And anyone here for the public forum? No. So moving on to regular business, we haven't discussed this. First item is to elect a chair and a vice chair. Any takers?
I nominate Brian to be chair.
Second.
I'd second.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll put it to a reluctant vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
2 years, Brian.
2 years.
You can do it. You got this.
We have a nomination for a vice chair.
I nominate Larissa.
Is there a second?
Second.
First, Brian.
Any other nominations? I do know that Larissa is willing.
Yes, I will. I have said that I will, if that's what folks want me to do.
That's great. All in
Awesome.
favor?
Aye.
All right.
Meeting schedule for the year.
This was, do you want me to take this or?
Yes, yes.
It was pretty hard coming up with a meeting schedule, I'm not gonna lie. But Brian really wanted to avoid holidays. Just the last couple months we had, like President's Day, we met and I think we've had 2 in recent months that was a holiday. So I think this avoids those. As best I could, kept with the second and fourth week. But May, that became difficult with Memorial Day weekend. So right now, May, we just have the 11th. April's normal, 13th, 17th. June, it's a little hard when there's 5 Mondays in a month. So because the gap, I recommended the 1st, which is a 3-week gap. Of course, if there's anything that really needs to be paid during that time, we know now, thanks to Larissa, that there is a way for us to have a warrant, for to pay bills, for example. But that means 3 meetings in June.
Oh, just to clarify that if things need to get paid, you can get digital signatures.
Correct. Yeah, thank you.
That's what that is. Okay.
July,
Making sure everyone-
August are the same. And then September 14th, 28th. There's a 3-week gap between August 24th and September 14th. Yeah, I mean, it's the best we can do. Point being, there's a few places where there's a 3-week gap. If you're okay with that, this is the best I can come up with. December went with 7th and 21st. We also go this 14th maybe, but that's back to back.
If there's not warrants, if a problem with warrants, I'm not opposed to a 3-week gap.
I'm fine with that.
I always like those 5 Mondays in the month because then you've got a 3-week gap.
Yeah.
I mean, we can get rid of some of these. We don't have to stick with all these dates. If you'd rather keep 2 in June, which might be nice. Of course, acknowledging there's only 1 in May as written.
But I think
It's my 40th birthday.
Which one?
The May meeting.
Does that mean you wanted to especially keep it?
No. Don't. The town schedule should not revolve around my birthday. It's funny.
I disagree, Larissa.
So you only doing 1 in May. And my thing about, I just always thought it was not fair to expect town staff to have to be here on a holiday. And other.
That's my feeling as well.
Yeah.
Again, feel free to add, take away. I don't know how that makes you
My
feel about
inclination
June
would
mostly.
be to do June the 8th and the 22nd. Is that too much of a gap in May?
I think we could,
It's almost a month between the
Yeah.
11th and the 8th.
but in the past, I think we've added or dropped meetings as needed. Like
Yeah.
I remember a couple times where we had a light agenda and didn't really need need a meeting. and
I thought,
drop one.
and we've always dropped like a July or August meeting
Yeah.
when things were slow.
Mhm.
If we have if we have construction going on, we might not want to, but we can always keep, we could go with this and drop one if we don't have a busy agenda. I
Yeah.
think boy, June is such a nice.
I mean, I don't need to make free time to June if we can avoid it. I don't know if this, right now, speaking of construction, the bidding for wastewater as of now is expected to start early June.
Yeah.
I think June 2nd actually is the day I heard for some odd reason. But I don't think that's gonna affect our June meetings. It may start in July, August, but. Well, what are your thoughts on the 8th and 22nd then? How do you feel about a month?
Is that too much for Steve and Lawrence, or can we make other arrangements?
No, I think we would just say, we'll print it, and if people wanna come by the office, you can sign it in the office, or we'll provide them Adobe.
Mhm.
Why don't we do that? And if we have to add a meeting, we can add a meeting rather than drop a meeting.
Okay, so 8th and 22nd of June. And what are your thoughts on December? The 21st is pretty close. Like a lot of people are taking off that
Yeah.
week. Would you prefer just one on like even the 14th? Again, that's a few weeks. But I'm okay with that, if you're okay with that.
December also we're gearing up for budget.
Yeah, I'm thinking I have some travel in January, second half of January. So for whatever part of the budget I'm involved with, like
We could be all
getting
done.
a jump on it.
I mean,
Earlier.
my expectation, I think we talked about it, is that we're a month ahead of schedule this coming year than we were this current year.
Yeah,
Which
we
I think
were
would be amazing.
jamming
Yeah.
right to the printing date.
Facein would be very happy with us.
So that might say stick with the 2 meetings in December.
Okay.
To give us a more head start on budget.
Budget.
We
Yeah.
just look at the December date,
Yeah,
how
It is
it,
the solstice.
how it.
And then November 23rd is Thanksgiving week, but I don't know, Monday compared to Thursday, and kids, I think kids are all in
Yeah,
school.
those are
for
the only
example.
ones I'm concerned about.
And I didn't put January, because I think last year we didn't do January,
Yeah.
so.
I think we scheduled through this town meeting.
Oh, we did? Well, I think you're right.
Yeah.
We scheduled, I think you're right, we scheduled all of January, we scheduled every Monday in
Yeah.
January. So do you wanna do that again? And then
Yeah.
we can take away if we want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right, Larissa.
That's January, February, and March.
Can't have
February's
that.
probably pretty easy. I think February easily, the 8th and the 22nd is flawless, if it's okay with everyone.
Say that one, say January and.
Every
February
month,
one
we'll
more
just schedule every Monday in January and hopefully take away since we'll be ahead of the game this year. And then February 8th and 22nd. And then town meeting next year would be what, the 2nd? No, the 9th?
Tuesday, Tuesday
the
the-
second, wouldn't it? Isn't it the first
First
Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I
second.
think it's the first Tuesday,
So then March 1st.
March 2nd.
Well, March 1st, we'd have select board meeting the night before.
Oh, yes. Okay, sorry, I thought you were asking when town meeting was. I'm like, nope, it's not Monday. Okay.
So every Monday in January, February 8th, 22nd, March 1st, and then town meeting the 2nd.
I can't find the 26, 27 school calendar. I think. Here we go.
Well, going back to May, would May 11th be when we're gonna schedule a special town meeting?
Yeah.
Could be.
I mean, we could, yeah, that would be my preference. We could do the early one in June technically also. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't set the tax rate for after
Let's do
that.
May 11th.
Just for November, I might not be here for the 23rd if it's then, if we do go somewhere. 'Cause it's school break.
Which one? November 23rd?
Yeah.
Oh, did it, is the whole week off?
The whole week is off.
How about if we do,
December I'm good because school is still going through the 23rd.
how about if we do, instead of that, we do November 30 and December 14.
Fine with me.
So we'll have this basically 2 meetings in December, just about.
December 14th and 21st.
So 14th and November 30th.
Oh, okay. Oh, so just one meeting in December.
Yeah,
November 9, November 30, December 14. Okay.
are you okay getting a packet out before the 30th?
Yes.
Okay.
Would there be a reason I wouldn't? Oh, is that right after Thanksgiving?
Overfed?
And are we meeting the 21st or not?
I don't think so.
No, December.
So give me that one more.
Christmas. So
November 11th, November 30th, December 7th.
November 9th.
Yep.
November 30th,
Mm-hmm.
December 14th.
December 14th. Got it.
So that's back to just one meeting in December.
And then every month, every
Yeah.
week in January.
If I put a lot of homework in, then we can really cover a lot. December 14th is what that would mean for the
Yeah.
budget.
And I think I'm here for the first 2 in January, whatever it is, the 4th and the,
I didn't even put what those dates were.
yeah, 4th and the 11th.
Yep.
So that's fine. A lot of
Okay.
my stuff can be offline, kind of in between meetings.
Oh, I'll add, well, it didn't matter this year, but the 18th is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which, again, that could, if we're ahead of the game, we'll just be able to cancel that next year.
Okay.
Okay.
York, could you send out what the schedule is
Yep, and I'll put it on the
Yeah.
website.
now that it's amended? Okay, great, thank you.
do we need to enact on that? Just agreement. Yeah, let's just,
I'm okay with you agreeing. I
Yeah.
don't know, technically we're supposed to do something or not.
okay. Let's move on to designated newspaper of record. And did you put Lisa's letter in here?
It came after I sent, she
That's what I
sent
thought,
it after
yeah.
I sent the.
That's what I thought, yeah. We did get an acknowledgement and a proposal from the Valley Reporter to continue serving as the paper of record late Friday.
Great. I would nominate the Valley Reporter as our newspaper of record.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
I
Thanks.
Since we only have one guest, we're probably sorry that we didn't reshuffle things, but we'll be
That's okay.
to you very soon. So we need to review and adopt our rules of procedure and review and adopt our conflict of interest policy, which have not changed
Not changed.
in the last year. I think I had the 2024 version where we made some editorial changes.
Mhm.
I think mainly dealt with some gender references and grammar, but nothing really.
Yeah, they're the same. Well, we updated the rules of procedure in October. Was that October? November?
We-
And
that
it was
was-
one little change, and so this new one that's in our account is also.
And that was emergency meetings?
That's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And so these are, and they're in the, they're here to be signed. And again, that's just, it's not necessarily state law that we have to do that every year, but the way both are written says that we do it every year. So I wasn't gonna change that, but in the future, if you wanna change it, we can take that out and
Yeah.
say, we'll review when Selectboard wants to, or.
had a question on the emergency meetings on the rules of procedure. And that is in number 3 about public access, where it's saying if held electronically, the meeting must include at least one physical location where the public can attend and participate. And at least one member or staff must be physically present at that location. I was wondering, like, that could be problematic in certain scenarios. Is that a?
That's how it was, that's the way the law is written. Like the state law for the open meeting.
Basically, if we can't use here, if someone can't be here, then we'll have to include someone who's around house or wherever they'll be. Basically, it's to provide for someone who doesn't have access to technology and needs to go somewhere to view the meeting.
Yeah. So that's a law, legal requirement as opposed to will endeavor to.
Not suspended if it's an emergency meeting.
I don't believe so. Let me just
I
check
mean,
that.
this was taken from the, I just moved this from
VLCT.
the, yeah, and so, and I think you bring up a good point, and probably there's been scenarios where that's been an issue. And I don't know what you do when that happens.
But it sounds like the physical location doesn't have to be here, like it can be,
It just has to be a physical location.
go to
Yeah.
Brian's house.
Obviously.
All right.
Yeah, and it could be the village meeting house or be the Red Cross shelter, which is Waitsfield School.
Okay,
We can look into some options in the future if we want to.
And those could be written.
Yeah.
Like best case scenario and. But it's true. I mean, how do you build adaptability into it? Is that what you're saying? Like,
Yeah.
because you never know.
Yeah.
I think that seems like.
Any other thoughts on a motion to adopt the rules of procedure and the conflict of interest policy?
I'd so move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
I,
Aye.
We're talking about appointments to town commissions, and I mentioned to York and Dave before the meeting that probably should have thought of this earlier, but I was thinking that appointments to town commissions does fall under personnel issues, and that maybe we should bring that into executive session just in case there's anybody on the list that anybody wants to raise a question or concern about or a follow-up. So we can do that in executive session, and then we would need to come out and make our appointments afterward. Does that work
Yeah,
for
we
folks?
need
Is
to
that,
make a motion to add that to the,
we would, yeah, add it to our,
at the time. Okay.
so we'll table it for now and we'll add it to, unless there's any objection.
mm-mm.
And
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay, which brings us to Liquor Control Board, outdoor consumption permit for Joy Bar. You want to join us at this table? Now, you have gotten your permits before for
Yep.
your interior,
Mhm.
inside.
Yeah, I
consumption.
have both class 1 and 3 that are
And-
active
and
for
I
inside.
think, at that time, I think we explained that we do expect folks who are the first time permit applicants to come to the meeting, and this is considered a new permit since it's outdoor consumption.
Right.
So,
First year doing it.
do you want to give us an overview of what your plans are?
Yeah, there's right outside the interior of the restaurant is a pre-existing covered deck porch area that has a 3-foot handrail across the roadside, and is within the parameters of that are just 2 doors that for customers and staff to access the outside area. So I just want to be able to put little tables out on that area and have people enjoy our full menu of food and drinks while they're within that zone. And the person from the liquor department who came out for our final inspection for those initial licenses looked at that and said it meets all the requirements, and then I'll just add those 2 signs on either side that say no alcohol beyond this point.
Which is exactly the setup at the Mad Taco, just
Mhm.
2
Yep.
signs on either
Yep,
end.
exactly.
How are things going?
Really well.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been
that was gonna be my question.
it's been great. It's been so nice to get the ball rolling, and of course there are a few little hiccups in the beginning, but learning new things every day for sure. And overall, it's been really wonderful. Great to have a nice local crowd in there.
Yeah.
So
Been hopping every time I've been in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it's been
super
great.
busy. It's awesome.
thank
And
you.
with regard to the liquor license, all your folks are trained and no
Yep,
no
everyone's
hiccups there.
everyone's got their required state training
Yeah.
in place, and everything has gone smoothly. We're IDing anyone who looks young, and because of our setup and hours, it kind of inherently avoids over serving, and we haven't had any issues in that department. And the only shift in hours as we move into summer will be adding a few more lunches, so that'll Yeah,
Cool.
so really looking forward to that. My only other add-on that maybe I returned for, but I just wanted to mention today was I'm hoping to do some like outdoor community events on the green in the summertime. So I just want to get in touch with my insurance and figure things out one step at a time, but I'd love to do like Sunday afternoon concerts here and there. Josh has asked me to help out with the return of the roundup, so
Okay.
as I move
Yay.
forward that, I'll probably, so really exciting, lovely community events that I'll reach out as I figure out more about, if that's all right with you, but
Oh,
just
yeah,
excited
sounds
to,
great.
good, okay,
Good.
thank you.
Any questions, Fred or Larissa?
None.
Nope, I'm glad it's going well.
Thank you
Yes,
so
well
much.
wishes.
Thank you,
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Motion to approve outdoor consumption.
So move.
Second,
Second.
any discussion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for
Aye.
coming.
Thank
Yeah,
you. I
thank
really
you.
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Mad River Path, update and discussion with Misha Goldman.
I guess he's not here.
You'll think so?
He requested this and I texted him earlier today, but.
Have a good night.
When he requested it, it was probably over a week ago. And so I added him and then he hasn't responded to my message. So.
We do have an application for a festival permit for Mad River Triathlon. I guess this back, Misha had wanted just to provide an update. And I think York, you had said he was hoping to get the funding that was adopted at town, that was approved by the voters at town meeting.
Yeah.
And you explained to them that it was in next year's budget, so we could get it to him after July.
Yep.
And he, I did see on Front Porch Forum, he's advertising the position. He suggested that since he has 2/3 of the money up front, he can go ahead and fill the position.
That's right. I think his main goal was like, he just wants to keep us up to date, what is happening, probably thank the town for doing this and, say he's advertising it and he just wanted to collaborate with us on what that was looking like. And I think he did, it shocked him a little bit at first about our fiscal year budget, but I think he came to terms with it. And yes, the triathlon, did you just say that? The
Yes.
Yeah, so
Do we want to hear from him on the triathlon permit or go ahead with that? Is there a time constraint there?
it's pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
Yeah.
It looks pretty much standard as we've always approved.
I was gonna say, I think we've approved it as written in the past.
It's pretty volunteer intensive. So is no.
I would move to approve it.
Okay. Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Just
Aye.
really quickly, I don't know if we want to reopen the issue, but on the emergency meetings, I just looked up the statute and I think this is beyond the statute if there is an emergency.
But our wording goes beyond the statute?
Yeah, I believe in 312 A4, it says state and local, well, that's advisory bodies.
Where are you? You're under emergency meetings?
Yeah, but there's 312A, meetings of public bodies, state of emergency. A quorum or more of an affected public body may attend a regular, special, or emergency meeting by electronic or other means without designating a physical meeting location where the public may attend.
That's interesting.
And that's basically if there's a declared state of emergency or a local incident. And local incident means a weather event, loss of power, or telecommunication services, public health emergency, public safety threat, received threat that a member of the public body believes may place the member or another person in reasonable apprehension of death or serious bodily injury or other event that directly impedes the ability of a public body to hold a meeting electronically or in a designated physical location. So, this does, go a little
Having a
bit beyond
physical
that.
location is not, yeah.
It's not required by,
Well, we did.
By statute.
Do we want to revisit it and make changes
but
now? Or do we
again, this
wanna-
is only if, I think this is only if one of those
Yeah.
conditions is.
But we ought to have that ability, that flexibility if it happens. Do we want to revisit it now or just put it on a future agenda to amend it?
I'm happy to put it on a future agenda and I'll double check everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay.
So we'll sign it, so it'll be current, and
Yeah.
then we can amend it like we did this past year.
Yeah, probably sooner than later, never know when that.
Let's, well, we can add it to the next agenda. That's not too soon.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we wanted to go to Brian's house, but
What's that?
I know we wanted to go to your house.
Near my house. Okay, so we approved the triathlon. So the water leak, it has been found. It is believed to be the curb stop to the wine shop. And the plan is to, Kingsbury is gonna start digging on next Tuesday with our permission to work. It's gonna require removing a couple of sidewalk panels and digging into the asphalt, not in the travel lane of Route 100, but there's on-street parking there. There's the bulb out, so it's within that parking area. The expectation is it'll take a couple of hours, maybe a half-day job. The tentative plan is for Kingsbury will backfill the sidewalk and put stay mat down, and then come back in early June, late May, when they can pour concrete. Not only they did not want to pour concrete in this weather, they want it to settle. I think we don't know what's going to be under the sidewalk. We expect that it might be some pretty soupy soils. So we want to be able to make it compact. I talked to Fred today, just as the health officer. The expectation is it won't cause any disruption to service. Although if something, they're going to have heavy equipment, unstable soil. If they knock into the main line, or it turns out that the leak is the main line, which Nate and the other folks do not believe it is for a lot of reasons, we would need to cut off service and do a boil water notice. So York is drafting a letter to all of the impacted water users that we want to get in the mail tomorrow. That lets everybody know what's happening, that we don't expect any problems, but be aware that there could be a last minute, if something happens, be prepared to, we will let you know of a boil water notice. And we're reaching out directly to the kind of water users, Lawson's, the dentist. Bill Parker has a lot of delicate equipment at Fiddler's. He's just going to shut his stuff down that day. We think some of the restaurants might do the same. It's probably good that it's happening at the end of March and not, Martin Luther King or President's Week. And just, so that's, at this point, our water ordinance says if there's an emergency, we kind of settle a select board, 2 select board members, 2 water commission members meet. We don't think this is an emergency, but wanted to know where we are and to see if there's any concerns with that plan going forward. Do you have anything to add, York?
No, just those that would be disruptive, that are just gonna get the letter, is everyone south of the Valley Players, that's where the cutoff is-ish. And I just, we're trying to make sure we reduce risk. And by that, we're in a front porch forum, Vermont Alert potentially, especially if there's a boil notice, Facebook, the website, and basically the letter that's gonna go out is right now, Brian, I think is kind of with a bullet point, this is what you need to know. And the backside of the letter will give you more information, basically saying, please look at the news alert on the website to know if there's a boil notice, because it's hard to do it otherwise. Unless you guys have ideas for how to let the public know.
That seems good. For the future, it does bring to my mind, should we set up a way? Do we have people's cell phone numbers for a number of users, or could we get that in a database to?
In this.
This is
letter
where
that's
that-
going out,
The letters can ask for it.
We're gonna put in a little form that says.
Great. That
We
was.
get you on our email list.
That was my suggestion.
Or notification.
Yeah, in case in the
Emergencies.
future, it's, a night of, middle of the night, okay, there's been disruption.
Yeah.
There needs to be a boil water notice, or the service is gonna get impacted, and that can't go in the mail.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean.
This is also not that it's worth revisiting necessarily at this point, but I think the sort of text.gov thing that York talked about last time,
It would have solved.
this would be one of those cases that it might.
Is this GoGo or text?
This one was text.gov, but there's other ones. But then like they automatically, like I could go to a map, circle parts on the map, identify the properties, and it automatically sends a blast text message to everyone in that area.
I think it's worth continuing to look at those things.
Yeah.
And then we've got the emergency alert system that Fred will be able to put something out immediately on if we need to.
BT alert.
BT alert, yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
getting-
what we're planning, yeah, sorry. go
Getting
ahead.
ahead of that for, in anticipation of wastewater would be great too. So we'd have water, wastewater.
That's true.
And maybe we could do a little advertising bump at some point about VT alert,
Yeah, we should. It's really helpful.
just with, Yeah.
What I often do is I wait till there's something on the horizon, like pending flood or something, and I'll put something in Front Porch Forum.
I will say I've signed up for Vermont Alert twice now and I still have never gotten an alert.
Really.
And I don't know how I could
I
have done
get
it wrong.
so many, but I'm signed up for too many accounts.
I was gonna say I think I opted into too many regions.
I get a water main.
I
break
cast
in
my
Mont-
net a little bit too wide.
A water main break in Montpelier about once a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. We know, I'm just curious, that curb stop, is that property actually connected or is it just the stub
It's
that
not
we think is leak? So it's maybe just the stub or the joint or whatever you call
Yeah.
it.
That's where the water actually comes up when you look at it. And what Nate thought was the frost was preventing them from being able to, the audible analysis that they did. And that the guy who does that work was there when we were out there the other day. And as he went from the curb stop back to the main, the sound got less and less and went away. So it definitely seems to be under the curb stop. And the curb stop, unfortunately, is in the middle of the sidewalk. So we are gonna move it closer to the building
Okay,
this time, so we won't have to do this again for
Yeah.
that property. But it's about, what, 6 feet deep? So
6.5 is what he said.
it's a big pit that they're gonna be digging.
And it really might be soupy. And we don't know. I mean, we could crack open that pavement and we'll see
And
what's
there's
underneath.
nothing under Route 100.
And
Yeah.
which is possible.
I'm trying to remember the
Geyser,
wastewater, if it's on that, which side of Route 100, the wastewater's on.
Wastewater's on the other side.
Yeah, so we won't have to replace the sidewalk twice.
That's right.
That's good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's good.
Although there are some cracked panels that I tried to.
Brian's like, what if we go a couple more? And I'll send Lisa a public notice for the paper this Thursday also, that will be very concise to what people need to be aware of.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
So the Valerie Porter has been very interested in this topic.
For sure.
So I don't think no action is required unless anybody has concerns of an update. And just know that the sidewalk will be replaced. And this is all being funded by water department, water utility money.
Reserves.
Yeah,
Reserves.
reserves.
And
Okay. Town garage. So Fred and I and Charlie Goodman and Josh and York and I met with the Breadloaf team for the second time last week. I'd be curious, Fred, what your thoughts and yours are, York. I've been pretty impressed. They send a large team and they're very responsive and listen a lot and make changes as we go along. We're looking at there's two things that came up at the last meeting that we need to discuss. In general, York, you shared the kind of preliminary design. Right now, we're not doing anything very, I mean, it's a big metal building. We haven't talked about any kind of architectural features that might make it more attractive or anything. There's probably gonna be landscaping involved. It's not a very visible building. We're dealing with a lot of the interior, design and how it functions relative to what we need for the garage. Two things have come up that are, we need to talk about. One was we've gone back and forth on mechanical and heating. We wanted to talk about that because there's not necessarily agreement around the table when we had that discussion. And then second is schedule. We had anticipated a November bond vote, and in order to have a spring of 27 construction, we would need to have a lot of decisions made before that bond vote. We would need to actually start putting in orders for some of the metal fabrication. So that made us, we don't need to make the decision today, but I think that one question is, do we go to an August primary vote in order to get ahead of that? Or do we decide that maybe we're just not gonna be able to go out to construction next year? So we don't need to decide that today, but that is something that we're kind of wrestling with. Fred, do you have anything to?
No, very complete, thank you.
I'm sharing the screen in
Yeah.
case anybody
Yeah.
wanted to, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of work done. We've changed the way the roof goes. Most recent discussion is how high the roof is, which has implications. And the team has been really instrumental in saying, these are the pros, these are the cons. And I think coming up with a good plan. Did you want to touch on it?
I think we, at last meeting, we lowered the roof by 2 feet to lower the profile, and everything works in it, and it lowered the cost a little bit.
And just comment on the timing. I'm getting through construction business that I work for and like the paving bidding, just more and more intel that the market is soft right now.
Yeah.
And to me, like the sooner we can get this to bid and under construction, the better, if we can take advantage of that window. And I think we have public interest in momentum as well. So to me, if we can, and if we have broadleaf's full attention, Breadloaf, excuse me, we ought to push as hard as we can to try to hit that spring 27 window, in my view.
I'm glad to hear that, because that's been my take. And Charlie Goodman's been pretty skeptical, but the more we talk, I think he gets excited. I think he's in agreement. He's just skeptical, but I do think that when we share the timeline, we
Can you
saw
put
a
up the
path
timeline?
forward. Apparently it's pretty
Yes.
good.
I also think there's huge benefit just for the morale of that team, which
Yeah.
I think is really
Yeah.
good to start with, really good to start with, but
Here you go, Brian.
would be even better with the excitement of new building.
So so we are doing the geotech and the environmental permitting and survey now. So we're doing septic design, or at least knowing where the septic's gonna go, what the soil conditions are like. And geotech to just figure out what's under the ground and what our foundation problems might be, or any challenges that we might have. We're going ahead with that. Where it gets into the medical building select and complete design, a lot of stuff went to happen in June, July, that incurs some cost. And we're just struggling with that.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I think we need to get into more specifics of what the earlier cost will look like. We have a little bit in reserve, of course, but not enough to order lots of metal building stuff. And whether we can push it to August and then order everything and still be on schedule. I mean, we're trying to reduce risk as much as possible so we can keep the timeline, like the geotech.
Yeah.
And the test pits, actually, the road crew is gonna dig the test pits, and then an RFP is gonna go out for the borings. And the environmental survey, I mean, there's a way to stay on track. The biggest hiccup, if there's no other major hiccups, is the need to start ordering stuff this summer.
If assuming we end up bonding in August or November, if we have a bond vote with the public, if we have to spend funds in advance of that, can those be kind of paid back with the bond proceeds? Can you bond for the entire 100% of the cost rather than just the remaining costs going forward?
That's probably a question for bond counsel. Our hope would be all of those costs would be folded into the bond.
Yeah, I would
I don't think so.
imagine you could, but we should confirm that, because then we
Yeah.
could use kind of, what do you call it, the surplus fund balance or something to kind of float the cash flow for 6 months or less.
Yeah, no, I there's always the risk though, that I'm pretty confident a November vote on this, unless we're shocked at what the price turns out to be, is gonna be pretty easily. You get into August and you never know what turnout's gonna be like.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Have we discussed the salt shed?
Yes.
No,
No,
we
not
haven't.
yet, we haven't.
We
No.
haven't. We did.
I mean, have we
with
discussed it with the full board?
No.
No,
Right.
no.
No.
So let's put that on the agenda to talk about today, but, so we don't need to make a decision today, but I agree with you. I think that next year is gonna be a much better construction season for the builder, for us, than the past couple of years have been. So that it would be good to go ahead, to figure out a way. I was just really, when I saw the schedule, I was thinking, wow, that's a lot of activity before we have a bond.
Here you go, Fred, if you wanna talk about the salt shed. I'll just say that in our first meeting, we were really playing a lot with this, and then the salt shed came up, which if you've ever been to the garage, you know the salt shed is
The York,
handy.
we currently can't see what you're referencing on the screen, or at least I can't.
Do you see the map, the overview?
Nope.
I mean, I shared.
I see section 3 meetings. Regular meetings shall be held. I already interrupted. I want to make sure that
No,
I know
I thought.
what you're talking about.
Some of the window is mirroring, I think.
You saw I clicked
Did
that.
you share a screen?
I shared that screen. Share. Can you click this? No, that's not it. This. Share. Can you tell me about that?
You're not.
It's loading.
What's that?
Slowly.
Okay, now I see a topo. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So here's the town garage that's proposed right now. You can see like where 5A is, that's where it is right now. So the 5A and 5B will be the new one. If you look at number 12, that's the proposed new salt shed. Fred, do you wanna talk about that?
Yeah, we decided to have it there. We did decide, talk about moving it over to area 10. We concluded we wanted it at site 12.
But move a little bit. I think the next iteration will adjust that a little bit towards the arrow that York has there.
Right.
Towards the
One of the problems was
southeast.
bringing in the big salt truck and being able to back into the salt shed. And one of the other issues was the capacity in the salt shed. We could increase it.
Yeah, in case nobody knew, right now there's no salt. So our road crew has used, I think, less than half the salt this winter as usual. Because we're not able to actually get salt. So part
I'm
of.
gonna say, when you say there's no salt, is that we don't have any, or there's none available, or what does that mean?
There's none available to towns. The state was trying to figure
Okay.
something out so that municipalities would be able to get some salt. I don't think that's happened yet. So, I mean, it's remarkable how little salt we've used, and Josh and the road crews worked really hard to make sure our roads stay safe, and they've done a great job. But there's many reasons that we're looking at also doing the salt shed at the same time, but capacity is one of them. So it holds, I think it's about 150% maybe don't quote me on that, more than what we have right now.
And would that be, I know that was discussed in the budget process where Josh was suggesting he might be able to rebuild it. Is this let's just start over and
Yes.
build a much larger one and
It
fold it
needs,
into
yeah, it
this?
needs concrete, a
Okay,
new
great.
concrete foundation and walls up to 4 feet.
Yeah.
Whereas V-Trans has concrete walls up to 10 feet, which everybody agreed was cost prohibitive and not unnecessary.
Okay.
Yeah, everything we're doing is trying to, don't quote me on this, but essentially try to say, what can we do so that we serve the needs of the road crew and the needs of the town, but also the values of Waitsfield. And working pretty hard at merging those two. And I think so far we're doing a good job.
Great.
So the other item, we did look at the options for primarily for heating, and Josh and Charlie were, solid proponents of LP, propane. We asked the consultant to look at some of the alternatives, especially heat pumps. It's being designed with radiant floor, so it needs to be, heating water, not air. And we looked at storage, backup heat in case there's electricity outage, and then backup to an emergency generator. So you want to talk about what they went through?
So essentially, there's multiple heat sources. If we did not do radiant, we won't cover that. It's like what the ones in the fire department are. That's the cheapest, and they ran the numbers and gave us what the cost per square foot would be for every heating option.
Nobody likes that option.
Which,
The big blowers.
yeah,
Those are
for good reason.
definitely more affordable, but there's many reasons it's not ideal for the
And
town.
is heating efficiency long-term per fuel source, is that included in the numbers?
Yeah,
Yes.
what the payback would be
Yeah.
for different uses.
Yep. And so per square foot for all electric, and our goal was full electrification, is really quite expensive. And I can share the numbers that they shared if you want me to. But the hybrid system just requires far less heat pumps. And right now our thinking is pellet as when it gets cold for heat. So it for per square foot, it's about a third as expensive to do a hybrid system.
So the primary heat would be heat pumps, and then super cold weather and power outage would be pellets. And then there would need to be a generator, and they looked at the cost of batteries and generator, and the mechanical guy for Breadloaf was pretty pessimistic about batteries because of their short life. That we might need an extended period of a week or more of backup electricity, and he didn't believe that batteries could provide that. So,
He mentioned about 24 hours on batteries.
unless you're recharging them, and I'm not sure
So-
how.
Backup generator.
Did the Vermont Municipal Energy Resilience Program come up at all?
I actually had a pretty big conversation with Josh Schwartz this weekend, and part of my plan for this week is to dial in as many options as possible, and he gave me a couple ideas of who I could reach out to also.
It's up to $500,000 for electrification,
Yeah,
so I'm not sure if what
I-
the delta is.
I was not, I don't want to say I was disappointed, but I would have hoped that the team was more up on that than they seem to be. Mentioned Efficiency Vermont, and let's look into those programs.
One thought or comment is this: if we look at all the other infrastructure in town, these things last 50 years. So to me, it would be disappointing, frankly, to put in LP fossil fuel-based infrastructure that we know is going to be there for 50 years. The backup power, to me, is less important just because it has a less of an impact. You're not running it every day. It's for emergency situations.
It's
But
for emergency and very cold, is that right?
No, that would be that's for generator
Okay.
if the power goes out.
Okay.
The heating right now, the cost is a third of what, if their numbers are correct, to go a hybrid system, which would be electric and pellet is what.
Part
we're
of that is
pushing.
because the electric is not
You just
super
need so
efficient.
many heat pumps. Per square foot, it was about $9.50 per square foot for
Is that-
full electrification
My,
for the
yeah,
radiant.
my understanding just from doing it on my own house is that it below a certain temperature, it's not very efficient to have heat exchange heat pumps, and that's when it's really good to use whatever backup source you have.
That was my understanding as well, but I don't know that for, buildings of this size.
If it's
Yeah.
50 or 60 degrees, that the heat
Right.
pumps are pretty efficient. But
Yeah, that's my understanding too, although I
or 70 or 80
oversaw
or 90.
a renovation of an old house into an office, and and it came online in 2020, and it's all air source heat pumps, and never used the backup,
Yeah.
never needed to. It's highly insulated though, so, but
Yeah, but this is a new construction, which presumably you can control the tightness of the building envelope, which
Yeah.
is the biggest.
We're assured we can make this very tight.
Until you open up one of those big doors.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
But with the heat pumps, it's not that they don't work at cold temperatures, it's they are less efficient, as you
Correct,
said, they use more electricity. But having used them in commercial applications of similar scale, 15,000 square foot buildings, and residential scale, I've never seen a scenario in 15 years where they didn't work, like they couldn't keep up with the cold.
What is your thought
Ever.
of like, I was surprised by how much they said it was gonna cost per square foot to do pure electrification for the radiant heat. And they said about $9.50 per square foot.
So that was a question, the heat pump, that would imply a air to water heat pump that
Yes.
would then be feeding the radiant, and that,
And sorry, that number $9.50 per square foot, that's for construction of,
No, that's the cost of the product. I don't think that was construction. Like that's not even counting the radiant heat at all.
So
That's
that's
just.
dollars per what?
That's just
time-
materials.
Per what time unit? $9.50 per square foot.
Per square foot for 12.9, how big is that?
that would be for the install, like
For the
purchase and
install,
install of the
for the
equipment.
installation, that's
Yeah.
what I was saying.
Not counting the radiant tubing and everything.
Yeah, I was just saying, this is for how much it costs to put in, and then this is not how much it costs to run it.
Right, yes,
Okay,
not to run
cool.
at all, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, the return on investment, we started touching, I mean, we tried to touch on a lot, and our meeting went very long already.
Yeah, so one comment, kind of, this is kind of 50-year infrastructure. You have a lot of time to absorb that cost, and I totally get, well, I don't get the big picture yet of like what the whole
Yeah.
building cost is. There's definitely concern among the town that we heard at town meeting of like, oh, if this is gonna be like Warren, it's gonna cost $10 million. I don't think we're in that, we shouldn't be anywhere near
Yeah.
that, just given our site.
yeah.
And
The
we're-
site work in Warren is a lot more
Millions of
expensive than what we
dollars,
have.
yeah.
And I actually think by picking Bread Loaf, part of the reason I think Charlie and I really like Bread Loaf is the way that they subcontract out work and break down the cost. It was pretty impressive to us. So I'm hoping that reduces or helps reduce costs.
And they said the payback, I think he was a little bit more dismissive, like 11 years, and I'm thinking, okay, 50-year life of this thing.
Yeah.
And we have a state goal of being fossil fuel free by 2050, and this building's still gonna be there, that I'm
Yeah,
pretty opposed to the fossil fuel solution, except for maybe the backup generator.
I would agree.
Yeah, but that was a non-starter, I think, for Brian and I, at least. I
Yeah.
can't speak for Fred.
I also think the, knowing the kind of the $950 per square foot cost in context of the overall building cost, is that like, 2% additional cost to the overall thing?
That is a good
Or
question.
20%? If
Yeah.
it's 20%, that's probably hard to stomach. If it's 2% increase in the overall cost, that may be
Well,
more
the
palatable
hybrid,
to all of us.
I agree, and I'd actually like to go over the numbers with you maybe.
Yeah.
But the hybrid was gonna be about $3.50 per square foot, which is
And what's
substantially-
the size building we're talking about?
About a little over 8,000.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe even if you'd be interested in jumping on a call with Mitch at some point. please.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, he was
Yeah, so-
talking in the ballpark of like an extra 50,000.
That's what it is.
In the scheme of things, of
Oh,
a
$50,000?
$4 million building.
Yeah.
And you get that kind of environmental, you're not externalizing those costs.
$48,000 based on those numbers.
I also like, we also talked, I've been saying decades. And what we're gonna be looking at in 25, 35 years in summer, I think might result in needing some cooling. And I don't know what that
100%.
looks like also, with.
Yeah, which you can,
Even if we don't put it in now, have the capability of having that put in later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did talk about putting just a heat pump head in the break room
Yes.
for cooling.
yeah. So if that order of magnitude is $50,000 on a $4 or $5 million building, that's 1% or a little over 1%.
Yeah.
It's not nothing, but to me, that's not a big enough adder to just rule it out and say, forget it.
Well, especially if the payback is within, 20% of the life of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what were the heat pumps last, what do they last, 15 years? What's the life expectancy?
Yeah, I think in that range, and that's actually an inexpensive piece of the system to replace.
Okay,
Like the water storage tanks and heat exchangers and control systems, that's where most of the money goes on the install. The actual like outside compressor fan unit, those are relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, I mean, the putting in all of the piping in the concrete is,
yes.
it was actually really interesting how well each bay has a four-way slope to a center drain.
Yep.
And I was like, a slope? How's that? And he goes, well, you won't even know it. It's that fine.
It's
Yes.
a quarter inch per foot maybe? I mean, it's really
Yeah.
small.
I've actually installed the radiant tubing recently, and it's
In your barn?
that part is very easy
Hmm.
and inexpensive. The tubing's inexpensive. Most of the work again is in the control wiring, getting all the zones right and balanced.
So we have our next meeting is April.
30th, isn't it?
No, not our next meeting, the next,
Oh,
the next meeting
with bread loaf.
with Bread Loaf is April 15.
That's right, it's texting.
And we'll be meeting the 13th and the 30th. So why don't we share the sheet that he did on costs
Yeah.
with everybody and.
Cool.
and-
I don't know if I have that. I guess we might have
Is
the
that
hard copy.
is that
somewhere,
total
but I'll
cost
get it.
or just the energy?
All the scenarios.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was pretty good detail.
It was pretty cool actually.
Which
That'd be
scenario?
great.
I think the mechanical guy for Bread Loaf was sympathetic to the Josh and Charlie.
Yes. And I had a conversation with Josh later that day. And he just basically shook his head, but he's like, whatever.
That sounds about right.
If it's helpful, we can do a little tour of my barn, which is up the street from Charlie.
Yeah.
A mile from the town garage to see physically what this stuff looks like.
I think it'd be helpful.
I do too.
Yeah.
I maybe even bread loaf.
Plus, I'd like to see your barn.
Come on over.
It's very nice.
Okay.
Do you have stairs to the second floor yet?
No.
Okay. Bring a leg.
And the plans that are presented here, is this multiple options or just the preferred option 2 or? whatever it
I
was?
share all three. The only real difference is one of them has the windows. Across the whole thing. We're discussing other type of like more like panels that let the light through. Right now, if you're familiar with some of these metal buildings, some are like, have the plastic stuff on the inside and they feel warehousey. Right now, we're discussing the panels that would be far more efficient, create a tighter envelope, be more comfortable. But there's a system that you can, right here, we could put these panels that would be built into the panel that would create light. So one of the ones is 2 feet taller than one of the other scenarios. And so right now we're talking 2 feet shorter. It doesn't change the energy bill much for heating it, because they figure that out. But the construction cost is definitely quite lower by dropping it 2 feet.
Got it.
Yeah, and then the question was whether windows or the panels that are somewhat opaque, but they allow a lot of light to get in, have a much higher R value.
Mhm.
And they're pricing out what that would look like.
Cool.
I'm trying to find that for you guys, Larissa. There's like these are windows, but the panels would look similar.
Yeah, and just on the cooling, I definitely think we should look into that, certainly for the break room and
Yeah.
The break room definitely is
Potentially
going to have
for-
cooling.
others, I think it's kind of been masked a little bit by the cold winters, but the summers have been very, very hot. And last year Burlington, which is where the weather station is, set I think 12 new daily records and no new cold records. And I think all of I was just reading, this was the one, basically.
I think that Alice was saying something about it. This is expected to be sort of the hottest we're on record for Vermont.
And it looks like rooftop solar, looks like the orientation's kind of the wrong way.
That's what we didn't talk about it, but when I was looking at it, I that was my thought. And right now it's just a one pitch.
Every year so far this decade, in the 2020s, has ranked among Burlington's top 10 warmest on record, and all 10 of the warmest years on record have occurred within the last 30 years. And they hit, I think, over 95, 7 times before July 4th last year.
The part of this, when we talk about heat, and because it's been brought up a few times in our meetings, the response is, you open doors and there is going to be a very good exhaust system, and there is required really.
Right.
But and you can turn your exhaust system on, and actually the exhaust automatically turns on based on emissions of vehicles.
Cool. Sorry,
But I agree, if we don't build cooling into the entire building now, I would like to know
Capacity.
that it is possible to do
Yeah.
in the future for, and the infrastructure is in place to let that happen. I mean, geothermal would be pretty cool, and that's something I'm also gonna look into. A couple of years ago, there was funding for things like that, I just don't know if there is anymore.
Can you cool with geothermal?
I think so, yeah, because you're bringing up cool air.
Never seen that.
So how do you want to, I just want to make sure everybody gets input and we kind of have a informed decision-making before they finalize things.
So you're sharing some data with us,
The
or
mechanical handouts, and I don't think that was in the packet they gave us, that was they handed out to me.
Yeah, and they actually hadn't sent any of the new drawings, so I reached out to them to send, and what I shared is what they sent to me.
Fred, do you have anything else to add to the?
No, nothing. Quite thorough.
Practical question, what would happen during the construction? How would the road crew operate during the construction period?
We're talking about that. We'll probably bring in a couple of extra, those, the shipping container things and,
Temporary structures of some sort.
and a little temporary office trailer kind of thing.
Mhm.
Just started talking about that at the last meeting.
And Josh is gonna collaborate with Facein and Warren so that if, above and beyond the welder, if we need, more space, that the garages would accommodate our crew. We've even talked about, he needs a new computer, we're gonna do a laptop, at least short term, so that his computer is mobile.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're gonna realize a lot of things that we haven't thought of yet, but we're trying to consider them sooner than later.
They had a pretty good detailed cost list. It was not filled out yet, but we added a bunch of stuff to it like that, like the temporary office and storage. I don't know, Josh, he seems pretty optimistic that they can get it done, and, you know, I think his eye's on the prize.
Yeah.
I think that's
Big
right.
Yeah.
prize. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think now I'd say Charlie and Josh, I wouldn't say, well, Charlie's always giddy, but even Josh is almost a little giddy, because I do think that even though they didn't believe it before, I think they're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel, that the town really supports them. And that includes these meetings. I mean, these meetings, the Bread Love brings like 6 people. It's really something.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah,
It's great.
so how do we want to leave this? We'll circulate information. Put it
Well,
on
do you
the-
want it just in the next select board packet?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
so include more in the next select board packet, and then maybe soon we'll just, do you wanna come up with like a process for how you'll, as we get closer to those moments?
yeah, I guess if anybody thinks they need any information, we could ask Brett Love to zoom in to a meeting if we wanted to.
And that's included a little bit in some of our scope, I think was one meeting. Or maybe 2 to prepare for town meeting, and of course, soon we'll be talking about how we're gonna go into the second final design phase of this and how we're gonna issue an RFP. Acknowledging that to keep on our timeline, we we are where we are, but how we're gonna make sure it's a competitive process.
That might be a very good idea to, in order to keep the public kind of engaged and informed, would be to invite Bread Love to present as we get closer to a final
Yeah,
design, and then present design and cost. And
That's a good idea. Yeah.
well, I think
we'll be
that's a
happy to
whole
do
nother
that.
topic. When we go to a bond vote, no matter when it is, we want to do want to invite John to do a
Yeah.
tour of the existing bond, existing garage, and do some other outreach to
Yeah.
let people know what's going on there.
Yeah, it feels like we've done a lot, but there's a lot to come.
Or
The good thing
we
is,
could also record and produce a video explaining the
Yeah.
issues,
That's a
which might
great idea.
be better production values than
yeah,
a live meeting, but we can also do that.
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
It's a great idea.
we did that for wastewater, and it was valuable.
Yeah, if you go to the page today, you'll see Chatra's face right there.
But
Now you shall.
nobody has, I mean, there hadn't been a lot of pushback. I think there's a recognition that this has been a problem for a while, and it's time to address it.
Yeah, the thing, the sooner we can get a preliminary number out there
Yeah.
that's very different than the one. The better.
Yeah, I'm quite anxious to hear that number too. I'm gonna stop sharing, is that good?
Yep.
And sorry, I
Good
was
by
sharing
me.
the wrong document at
Yeah.
first.
Fred and Brian and York, thank you very much for your work on this. It's awesome. It's cool to see it just kind of moving quickly. It's great. Much appreciated.
I mean, I do look at the elevation and I think it's like, it's a metal shed on steroids. And I'm hoping we can talk about some kind of architectural, something that'll make it unique.
Paint it barn red.
We will be choosing colors, so.
The color does matter a lot.
So,
With that said, Josh literally doesn't care. I think at all what it looks
Yeah,
like.
I think there's
No.
less need to have it look like a barn as the wastewater treatment plant will.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great site in that regard, that it's
Yes.
not a highly visible site.
Exactly.
And actually, we did discuss also, public outreach for the neighboring. I mean, we're trying to consider everything that we should consider.
Yeah.
And so if anyone else has anything else, oh, have you considered this? That would be very helpful.
Yeah, it's interesting. Our ambulance and fire stations are much more visible on their
yes, it's true.
pretty ugly metal sheds.
Yeah.
Really, really are.
Okay, so review and consider awarding paving bid for Jocelyn Hill Road and North Road. York, got 2 bids from.
Yep, Charlie and Josh, or at least Charlie's met with the 2 companies, FW Whitcomb Construction and Pike Industries.
Now Whitcomb was, they were slow to give us a proposal, right?
It was, yes, Charlie said it was a little struggle to get them to even come out and have them respond, but they did eventually respond, they did eventually come out, and they did eventually, provide a bid that is included in the packet. Charlie and Josh are recommending Pike, who did our job last year,
Yep.
Bridge in East Warren. I think partially because they've had a really good working relationship with them and they really appreciated last year's job. I think last year, Charlie said it was the best job they felt like a paving company did in decades. So that meant a lot to Charlie, of course, but also it's a little confusing. And so I had to educate myself on the Vermont, the V-Trans asphalt price adjustment specification.
Yes, tell us, please.
If you asked me Friday at like 1 o'clock, I probably could have given you a really good rundown. Now I can just say basically it's a way to protect both the consumer and the company. But even if you see the Whitcomb and the Pike Industries, there's a different in tonnage and a different unit price. That unit price does hold even if it's adjusted. So if the V-Trans asphalt price adjustment specification changes, that difference in price still changes. So no matter what happens, according to Charlie Goodman, the Pike is still less expensive regardless.
So how is, just like I'm 12 or whatever age you wanna, how is it less expensive if the bid is slightly higher? Because isn't Whitcomb just assuming that they're using less asphalt here in their
That's
bid?
what it looks like.
Yes.
They're a more expensive unit type price, but they expect less asphalt.
They also include more additional, exclusions, haha, just kidding. I did not
Mhm.
read that clearly. I didn't say anything.
And I wanted to review this again today and I just didn't have a chance to review the actual, so I'm.
Yeah, I mean, they both have exclusions. The Pike exclusions actually worry me more. The traffic control, fine grading, sweeping, saw cutting, layout, structure adjustments, removal of existing curb, subbase preparation, and fillets to be done by others. I would want to understand from Charlie and Josh how big a adder that would be, on top of the price. Because Whitcomb has fewer, not none, but fewer of those exclusions.
Rent control is included.
That said, I do value their
Yeah,
their positive experience with Pike and
Yeah.
good working relationship and all that. But it would be good to get an estimate from them in the Pike bid, that fifth bullet point that has all those exclusions to be done by others. Is that kind of 50 grand of additional work or 100 or 10?
yeah, I see sweeping, traffic control, and flagging. And I don't know about the others. Fine grading, saw cutting, layout, structure adjustments.
And can you remind me that this is not just like a shim top coat. This is more a take the whole thing down.
Yeah.
Yes, Jocelyn Hill, not North Road, but Jocelyn Hill.
Right.
And then also I just note, just for our, what day was this received?
Yeah, I don't think Charlie thinks that's gonna be a problem, and I kind of agree with that for Pike, if that's what you're talking about.
Just Pike says seven days and Whitcomb is 30 days.
Yeah, just judging from what happened last year, that wasn't a problem, but it is noted.
Okay.
And that question I think is good enough to say, should we push this till the 30th? I mean, I think what you bring up could have a great cost to it that changes the final cost. And I tried to push Charlie on all of this, and in the end, he sent me an email Friday that made it clear that he supported Pike's bid. But
Sure.
but getting the actual cost of what they think that might be is, I think I support that.
Yeah, and I think it would apply to both bids,
Yeah.
kind of what's the cost sheet exclusions, and in some cases, the exclusions may not be required. Like they may just list them to say, we're not
For sure.
doing this, but it's not part of the plan anyway. So
I'm hoping that the towing of vehicles parked on side of roadway won't be required, for instance.
That's funny, Larissa.
That's what it says.
Yeah, no. Okay.
So we wanna.
We're adding that to
What do you want to
the 30th.
I wonder, is there, given the, I'm guessing there's some sensitivity with what's going on in Iran right now around pricing. Is there a way to say, hey, if the cost is less than, if the adders are less than X $1,000, we don't need to come back to it on the 30th, approve it if it's, more than 10% of the cost or something like that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it would be good to be able to, if we could lock it.
Yeah.
it'd be
A
good.
contingency.
Yeah,
I mean,
so how would you,
well, just thinking out loud, 10% would be a little over 20 grand, 15% would be,
I'd do it.
30 grand.
More like 15 or 20.
yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
We had in our capital budget, we were figuring
250.
257, 257.5, so we're
And I
well
don't think,
within that.
I don't think that included North Road. I think that was just Jocelyn Hill.
Yeah, I mean, last year they did a little bit of, they did us right on the slow road. Pike
Yeah.
did, in
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
big way.
And they actually did.
And they did a little bit of
They did part
Jocelyn
of
Hill.
the bottom of Jocelyn Hill that was
Which was a
creating
mess.
some problems.
Yeah,
So if we conditioned a motion to accept the Pike quote, condition upon the exclusions in bullet point number 5 being less than 20% of the current bid price. Equal or less than 20%, which would be $45,000 adder.
Do we know, was it, I assume the contract was very similar last summer?
Yeah.
I think
Should we be
Pretty
easily be
lean.
able to tell how much the add-on was? Because they
I
would.
mean, it's hard to say
They
because
would have
like,
invoiced us.
well, like the gravel, but they both exclude gravel. I mean, we just did that. And so that took a week of our cruise time, for example.
did we do
Flaggers.
flagging? Did the crew?
No, they had
No, that's-
flaggers, which
Was a problem.
was actually kind of a problem. And so having our road crew do it actually might be a benefit.
It might not yell at as many people.
It was a disaster. That's probably the most phone calls I've had since I moved here.
We can take turns and our yellow vests.
There we go.
I like that motion.
So you made the motion to go with Pike, providing York confirms with the road commissioner that the add-ons will increase the cost by more
The-
to the
the-
town by
the-
20%.
Hard cost?
The unique add-ons that Pike has, but
Oh, above and beyond Whitcomb?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So 20, okay.
So it's just the ones that are in Pike traffic control sweeping.
Yeah, so maybe it won't increase the bid price by more than 20% from what's currently
And
quoted.
And we're talking hard costs, not road crew cost, soft cost?
Correct.
correct.
Yeah, I think.
Is that
So
the right way of saying that?
I think so. If we have to hire out these services, like if we have to hire a flagging firm or others, or purchase materials, et cetera, I think it would be those costs
Yeah.
rather than our own road crew labor.
Because Whitcomb includes that. It's a very high cost flagging. It's remarkable how much it costs. It's thousands a day.
Yeah, it's just traffic control, which is
That's my biggest
traffic control
concern.
and flagging, which are not in Pike and are in Whitcomb, and then sweeping, which is, in Whitcomb it says butt joints and sweep private paving.
Question whether, do we want to fine tune it that much to say the differences between Whitcomb and Pike, or just say, let's go with, we're making a motion to approve the Pike bid as long as the adders, whatever the adders are less than 20.
That's right.
It could be hard to.
That's fine.
It could be hard to
Yeah,
assess and
that's
figure out.
their recommendation.
That's right.
So, and a refinement, I think, Dave just pointed out, would be the added costs, from third parties or something like that. So if it's our own road crew
Right.
doing the work.
Just hard, and that's what I called hard cost. Is that
Yeah.
fair?
Yeah.
As opposed to soft cost of
Yeah.
our hours.
And it can be estimated.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to.
Mhm.
And there, maybe we can go back. I don't know. Traffic control is a big deal. So unless Josh's crew says they're ready to take it on, which they might be, I mean, I'd be tempted to. Is there any reason to say to go back to Pike and say this is a pretty big difference? I mean, it's thousands of dollars traffic control.
Well, let's
With
see
the
what the
included.
percentage is. If it's a hard cost that's within the amount.
Then you're okay.
Yep, I'm okay.
I mean, well, there's been a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Right.
All right, then, yeah, and you're right, 7 days, I don't know what the quote was, it's maybe been 7 days or more. The 11th. Okay,
So you'll reach out to Charlie.
Hey, Trip.
Okay. 4811 Main Street sidewalk.
yeah, I included a picture,
Yep.
the owner of the property, came into the office and, just said that he owns that entrance. But then, the yellow building across from the town pond, they also utilize that entrance. And he said he's gotten quite a few complaints over the years, but definitely some recently. I mean, it fills up with water and ice during the winter. Right now, it's pretty dry, as the picture shows. So I wanted to mention that, and Charlie Goodman said that's always been a problem. And I actually think that Charlie said he's offering to go out and see if he can come up with some things, because drainage is an issue, and see if there's some type of remedy that we can come up with. But I wanted to share that that landowner brought that up.
Here's some mess, yeah, I walk across that a lot. We have had complaints in front of the Valley Players too. So maybe if Charlie
Yeah.
could look at those and see if there's drainage improvements. And since we're gonna be bringing Kingsbury back to relay sidewalk in front of the wine shop after the pipe is fixed, maybe we could tag team with that and do some improvements this year.
Very nice.
We had complaints about the couples field as well, that
That's right.
transition kind of,
That wasn't a sidewalk problem, that was a drainage problem for the driveway.
right,
Yeah.
water,
Didn't some of it wash out?
water shedding down the hill and taking out their driveway.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'll, just to move it forward, I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, talking to Charlie is a good idea and see if he has any idea. I think he actually also brought up maybe talking to some other people that he knows that would be better understanding the drainage.
Yeah. How about, what's his name? Trevor. The engineer.
The engineer, I'm happy to reach out to him. If that's it, or I'll talk to Charlie about it first.
Okay, yeah. How about the entrance to this building?
Charlie is gonna look at it soon. It's really bad, and we do expect it to settle a little bit back down, because it really heaved on the south side. But Charlie and I talked about it last week, and he's gonna look at it and come up with a plan. I mean, the plan is to fix that this summer.
Because again, in front of the wine shop, we'll be doing some asphalt work there too. So if we,
And I think like I said, well, when the paving company comes in this summer, is there potential to then
yeah,
piggyback off some of that pavement? And I think he thought it was possible.
okay.
I'll actually, Charlie said next week he's gonna shoot some grades to the entrance of the town office and write a proposal for repair needed for the entrance.
Okay, great. So no action needed for that. we did place you guys on the agenda before we go into our executive sessions, and just a couple more things before we get there.
Oh, cool, yeah, thank you.
So we talked about this earlier, scheduling special town meeting for River Valley Ambulance Service and the couple club.
And I have something else to add to it. And I just want to bring it up. Scadium is interested. I said it's very possible the select board would rather wait till town meeting next year. But I did get the information, their assessed value is $50,000. The Scadium nonprofit board has requested that that be considered as well for tax exemption status. And I just wanted to bring that up if you wanted to entertain that at this special town meeting.
What do folks think? I mean, these are 5-year contracts that the town has already voted on.
Yeah, personally, I'd rather keep it separate. Like, this is kind of oversight that we didn't get it into this town meeting, is why we're having this special meeting. If we start adding new ones in, I think that stretches
I
the
concur.
definition a little bit.
As do I.
Yeah,
That's fine.
and we announced this at town meeting too, so folks should have a
Right.
warning.
Um,
So,
Next year, we're gonna have the Masonic Lodge, and potentially, if there's a formal request from the Scadium.
yeah, they should kind of go through the same process that everybody else did.
Yeah, okay.
Meaning next town meeting is
Yeah.
when,
No, I think that's fair. And Steve Lewis, who's our treasurer, we talked about it today again. And I said that was very possibly going to be the position of the select board. Okay. Do you want to go over the quick process? I mean, essentially, we would warn a special town meeting, and it would be the exact same thing as we do for a normal town meeting. I kind of lay it out here. I think we already discussed that we'll plan on doing that in the May meeting.
May 11th, yeah.
And so we just wanted to make sure that everyone's on the same page, and we're okay with doing a special town meeting May 11th. And then I think we talked that this would not be
Do it
the
over at
best
the
place.
meeting hall, the meeting.
You want to do the village meeting house?
Yeah.
So that I could put.
likely Carrie's not gonna be around for that, which I don't think we really need. Do we need a moderator for just 2
We
articles?
could, yeah, I mean,
We'll elect another one.
what's that?
We'll also elect another one.
I think in the past, the select board member filled in. They could just do it temporarily,
Yeah.
so
I know someone that has a lot of experience.
it's been moderated before. Should be an easy one too. We should Mervis and the couples club need to be aware of this.
Yeah, I mean, we have to warn it at least,
Yeah.
30 days
Yeah.
before, and I'll try to reserve the village meeting house soon. And then if there's an issue at the village meeting house that evening, because there's some things that they have always, that they have on the calendar.
Yeah.
Do you want to consider another place, or what would you like to do if they say they always have something on that Monday?
So what do folks think?
Try the school
Yeah,
or here. I just wonder how much attendance there would be for a pretty narrow issue. And I
probably
don't
not a lot,
I
but
don't think a real contentious issue.
The only reason we talked about it bigger places was Brian wanted us to reach out to Mervis and the couple,
Yeah, I think
so that
they-
they have representatives,
Yeah.
if they wish.
Would the school work for a Monday night?
yeah,
And then we just consider a meeting then?
I think that works.
I mean, the alternative is we change the day, like we did for the infrastructure summit. And I'm not advocating for anything.
It should be free. There's no basketball, so gym should be free. Winter special meeting might be harder.
Okay.
So
it's Monday basketball day.
every night, all the gyms are full all winter.
Are they really?
But yeah,
Okay.
second graders practicing till 7:30.
So can you know if there's any, if this is all possible at the next meeting?
Yeah.
Go ahead and put a warning together.
And the wording is already, it's in the town meeting packet, the town administrator report, so I suspect the reading would be the same. But I have not researched that yet.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the only items that the attorney didn't make any tweaks to.
That's a good point. Thank you.
Okay,
Great.
motion on the consent agenda.
Make a motion to accept this consent agenda.
Second,
Second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I
Town administrator's report. Uh-oh.
Good save. Cemetery.
Second. I'll just note that there's a piece in there about the cemetery trust. Originally, we were gonna maybe put that on the agenda for tonight, but we're moving into next time. The cemetery trust wanted a chance to meet with a few people that are interested, so they can be more ready to make a recommendation.
Are you sure that we have that appointment authority?
According to VLCT.
Okay, I read the special trusts, and it seemed like they appoint replacements, but I'm fine if.
It's a little hard to say because technically the cemetery trust is a little outside the norm for the state. As usually it's a trust of public funds.
Yeah.
But we are where we are. I'll just note that the power to this building comes underground from the power pole right about there.
Before we do the cemetery, so do folks know that there are 3 trustees of the cemetery trustees who have managed the investments that have been used to support the cemetery commission. Gib Geiger and Bob Cook have been doing it for many years. Both of them have let us know that they wanted to step down, so we need to find 3 members who will serve as future trustees.
And I think the expectation right now, if I understood correctly from talking to Bob, and Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, and Gib, is that we find one, and then that would give time for Bob and Gib to bring that person up to speed and then find the replacements as the summer we move closer.
Bobby Roode made kind of a last minute effort to run a write-in campaign, but she didn't do a whole lot of outreach. I forgot all about it, so.
She was short 3 votes.
Yeah.
So there's a minimum number of votes you need?
Yeah, I
I
know.
think it's 15.
Okay.
I just note that because it's the building we're in right here, the conduit for what supplies our power, the cable goes through the conduit was hit this winter probably, while we clean the sidewalks, those can happen. But this Wednesday, an electrician, Ben Smith, working with Green Mountain Power is gonna do the fix. And Green Mountain Power was very great as a partner to make sure that they're not charging us for the work that they have to do on their end, and they're allowing for a more affordable fix that's gonna be what we need. And we have a lot going on that day, but we have a generator here, which is great. If you saw what I wrote about local option tax.
If I may,
Yeah, go ahead. Frank.
yeah, the conduit pipe on the utility pole next to the covered bridge is compromised.
And did we just find that out?
I noticed it Sunday.
Okay.
What's wrong, Brad? What does it look like?
The wires appear to be okay, but the conduit itself is broken.
Okay. Yeah, that needs to be fixed. Okay. I just wanted to say the local option tax, as we know, passed 68% of the vote, and we've been working with both the Attorney General, is that right? And with the Assistant Attorney General and the Vermont Department of Taxes. The Assistant Attorney General reached out to me last week requesting some information, which I sent, and he said that is what he needed. We have not heard whether they will be able to start collecting it in the next quarter, but nobody said that they're not. they respond when they respond. But we're moving forward with that.
Is that
That's it.
one we can, given that's a substantial difference in tax revenue, can we keep bugging them? And I'm happy to volunteer. if they
Yeah.
want to.
I mean, they haven't said they're not. So right now I'm hoping that just means that that we are.
I just, if they're
Uh,
cutting any towns off, I want to know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
Okay,
know, and,
that's a
and,
good
and
way
I
to put
would
it.
get in touch, you know, if we do have an opportunity to speak to Candace and Tara, to also have them in on the loop.
yeah, and I think it's fair for us to just ask, like, hey, we supplied you the information you requested. We're expecting that we will start collecting July 1st, or you will start collecting on our behalf on July 1st. And just see what they say.
Okay. I will reach back out.
Thank you. Don't mean to be a pain, but
No, it's great.
that's a bunch of money,
Yeah, it'll be a good confirmation when that is confirmed.
especially that's summer, actually. That's probably one of the bigger quarters here.
Yeah, agreed.
well, yeah, the first one, starting July 1. Yeah,
Yeah, so we missed that.
we're yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna miss probably the latest.
Yeah, perfect.
So it'll be interesting, you know, what the estimate was like. We figured 450 because it was 75%, but maybe it'll be 5 and whatever. You know.
Right.
But I haven't heard, it doesn't sound like there's any indication that they plan on limiting it. You know, I don't.
It's just that they're only required by statute to
Yeah,
admit
no, I
5
know.
per year. Is that right?
Yeah,
That's correct.
they have the discretion, just limit it to that, but I don't know if they ever have.
They've never had the need.
You never had 5? Well, big year for a lot.
Good to hear. That's it.
Anything else? Select board roundtable? Oh, go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say that the domestic animal ordinance we're putting on the next agenda. Is that correct?
Yep. There was just a lot in this agenda, so.
Yeah.
We
I just
decided
wanted to-
move it.
Make a note. I just see it in your report.
Yeah,
So-
and originally I hadn't put it out for public notice and everything for the parts of it, you know, that is required for an ordinance. If you're comfortable, we can just have it so that really that clock begins on the 30th instead of just saying it's going to begin on the 30th. And so if you're comfortable with that, we can just move forward with that being a public hearing for the ordinance, which I think we can do.
Yeah.
And that just means I have to, post it, in the paper, et cetera. Marissa?
I was gonna say, I'm fine with that. I wanted to make sure that didn't, fall through the cracks, since I know the timing is pretty specific for amending ordinances.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I mean, I will say, yeah, our animal ordinance is a really strong ordinance, I think. And Fred and I spent some time making sure that it covered a lot of things that were lacking before. And this was an oversight, just a small wording in one section versus another. So I don't feel like we're rushed. It just means that we would assume the less stringent of the two.
And this aligns us with the other towns, right, on physical control? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's
And
correct.
I think being internally consistent within Valley towns benefits everyone. Because most people who come to visit don't know the distinction between Warren versus Waitsfield versus, so if it's the same rule, no matter where you are in the Valley, that just makes it a lot easier to enforce as well.
Exactly.
Okay. Select board roundtable. Dave? Fred, go ahead.
Yeah, a little bit of good news. The Mad River is open and free of ice.
Hooray!
It was a little dicey last weekend.
Saturday, Sunday was interesting. We had a good ice jam above the bridge. Water was starting to come into the parking lot. And, being prone to think of the worst case scenario, I was concerned that maybe the water would get jammed up and the river jump the bank and come through the parking lot and go who knows where. But luckily that didn't happen, and with time it flushed out.
It was all gone by the next morning.
Yep. It was down in Moortown.
Yeah. Anything else, Fred?
No, that was it. Good news, good stuff.
Marissa?
Did we lose it?
Anything? Roundtable? Josh? Dave?
I just wanted to say thanks to everyone who helped with the town meeting improvement.
Lisa never ran my letter.
Well, it was a good letter.
It was an excellent letter.
And yeah, everyone who
Yeah.
helped.
She said she misplaced it. I was too early getting it to her. And I said, well, it's late now.
You early getting it to her.
Is it good? Get you around next week?
I decided, let's put the town meeting behind us.
Okay.
But I felt like it was well attended and everyone seemed happy with the improvements in the childcare, and I think people's awareness of it is heightened, and so hopefully that continues. So that's it.
I think it's a lot to build on for next year. It really was a good.
Yeah, turnout was great.
Yeah.
Thank you for your effort, Dave.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
thanks everyone's for.
I also wanted
supporting.
to thank folks who worked on various different subcommittees, both leading up to the town meeting, especially my not being able to be here. I'm really glad that the LOT subcommittee was able to get so much done, and that the town meeting was it's a great foundation to build on for next year.
Cool.
And the pastries are delicious.
I did get more comments on that than anything else.
Yes.
What's that?
Those are the only suspect comments I got. Was what our budget was.
Yeah.
It was a good deal. Just two things really quick. We had a meeting, York and I met with Kurt Lindbergh, Leo LaFerrier, and Charlie Hosford about Emerald Ash Borer last week, and are developing a plan. And I think the early thought is to really start looking at the village Main Street ash trees and come up with a plan to start doing some work on those this year. There's a little bit of difference between, do you focus on the street trees on Main Street or really focus on the rural roads that have a lot of ash trees that could provide public safety issues if trees start coming down. And I think the conclusion was they're both important. We need to focus first on public outreach in the village, and then we'll look at elsewhere. And there was the word had gotten out that we did have emerald ash borer and a tree up on the common road. It turns out that tree is an elm tree. So we think it's
Great.
probably still in the
So
valley.
it's Dutch elm disease.
But then I did see a note that said Leo did say that he identified emerald ash borer on a tree
I
somewhere
didn't
else.
see that, but he may have.
It was in an email. So at any rate, we
It's
know,
got-
I
it's
think
on its
we're
way.
I think we know it's in Facein.
Yeah.
So it doesn't change.
Is it?
To move forward with the plan. Yeah, my understanding is they definitely, the state has identified trees in Facein that have a rash borer. And really, the reason, right now, we're basically focusing on a phase one for the plan. And that would be the Main Street corridor and education outreach. And a lot of that is purely because we'll learn from phase one to go into a phase two to have more to do with the rural roads, like Brian said. But also financially speaking, it's not cheap. And so with the funds that we have available now, be able to, come up with a plan for the next 2-3 years, a phase one makes a lot of sense. And that I think is possible. We'll have to you even the 30th, a draft plan for select board review. Do you think?
Possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, working on some small parking improvements to Farley Park. You've all seen the initial plan that we looked at a while ago. Meeting with V-Trans this week. They initially said that the driveway access needed to be a 32-foot curb cut
Sounds about right.
for a little park with about a half dozen cars. And the LaRue swim hole is not that big, and that gets a lot more traffic. So there's a meeting with V-Trans this week, and Charlie Goodman has been asked to do the site work being funded by the Farley Reserve, which was private fundraising money put aside for that.
Great.
That there is a desire to have a park opening, kind of a dedication on May 2nd. So a lot of the work is heading in advance of that.
SAT day.
SAT day?
Yeah, Noam has signed up for his SATs that day.
Well,
He'll miss
Bill,
the opening.
I think it's in the
Just in
afternoon.
case you were wondering.
Anything else? Okay, so, welcome, Trip, Mr. Johnson. Recognize, one thing, I know that you've been eager to get before the select board recently, to talk about your concerns about the flooding, from a year and a half ago, and I appreciate that you kind of held off, recognized that leading up to town meeting, we had our hands full, and, I appreciate that, and thanks for coming out tonight. You know, York, maybe you could tee this up. I know that you've had a lot of conversations with Fred, met with Dave and Larissa on site. I've been out along the road with Josh, and you've had a lot of conversations with York about your concerns about what the town's liability may be for the flooding because the culvert was overwhelmed in the flood and did damage to your property. It hasn't been entirely clear, but it's been secondhand for me, what your specific request or assistance from the town that you would have liked to have had, and you know, it's after the fact now, but what your I guess just, I'd like to turn the floor over to you, but maybe I'll do an introduction first, York, if that's okay, I guess, as far as your conversations.
I think that's good.
Okay,
I think
so
you teed it up.
you want to come up to the table and join us?
Sure. I mean, is that okay?
Yeah, that's
That was
fine,
a
that's
good
fine. I
introduction. I
Okay.
have nothing substantial to add to that.
And maybe before, Fred, do you have anything to add, having kind of been the point of contact recently? Or is that,
No, I've just tried to facilitate this meeting.
okay,
Whenever you get to that, they may answer some questions before we get there, I don't know, after, something. What I would like, I don't wanna go backwards too much, I know how I feel and what's gone on. And I don't see any sense in us getting down in the trenches and hashing it all out. Maybe there is, I'm willing to answer anything to the best of my knowledge. What you asked, what I'd like to restore the property back the way it was before this happened. And it's pretty much that simple. I've submitted to you some figures there. There's other figures in here that I took upon myself. I don't want to be reimbursed for it or whatever. I do know there's another bid in there. There's a job that's been done and there's additional work that needs to be done. I've had three other contractors in there. I don't care about mentioning their names. It's in there. And they were up way up in price compared to what was done. I'm not saying they were over or whatever. I elected to go with this one, and it's been hell. It's completely been hell. And I hope that we can come to some conclusion and something go forward with all this. And it's pretty much in a nutshell. I'll answer any questions, like I said. I don't feel as if the communication's been here. It hasn't been a year and a half. It's been last May. It seems like 2 years, but it was just last May that this happened. Anything you would like to say, Trev?
Well, we know the past history of the road and the issues up there. It's been going on since like 2018. There's been quite a few flood events. And, you know, obviously you guys have seen some pictures and got some more. And we have one heck of a good road crew. We have one heck of a good community here. And since 2018, I think there's been some oversight on what needed to be done to correct the problem. And corrections that were made necessarily didn't correct the problem. And none of us, I'm not saying town or road crew or anybody, none of us in this community might have taken the proper steps to call in some experts.
Excuse me, Trev, let me cut you off. This was 1998, this first
Yeah,
happened.
1998,
And
sorry.
this has happened 4 times since then.
So when the work got done up there, I mean, the culvert was put in the wrong angle. My understanding was there was supposed to be a bigger culvert that it got called for. I forgot her name from the state, with permits and some advices and steps. And, you know, there's all sorts of steps and policies, but just looking for, you know, that caused damage to my dad's property, which is pretty sad and a pretty good financial burden. And another fear factor is that was put back at a different quote than what we had an engineer come take a look at, a different scope of work. And just taking a look at when is that culvert getting replaced? You know, when is the right size? When's the study, the suggestions from the state? I'm assuming you guys had up there, since it's been flooded so many times. I'm pretty sure you guys got some advice on the proper culvert size and stuff like that. So he can live in his house if every time it rains, that something's not gonna happen. You know, with every culvert, when you get a storm, you might get a tree that comes and plugs it and all that stuff, but at least there's some type of right side culvert, you know? So just looking forward to what the thought is. We had some town officials, town people there that said the cause of the problem is there. This is the result of it while we were there in a meeting. A couple of town officers have come and said that there's no doubt. I mean, that's where the issue is. And just trying to figure out what is proper and going forward from this so that there's not an unfair, undue burden on individual party. So that hopefully you're comfortable with my feelings.
Oh, anything you got to say it.
Mhm.
I would like to also point something out, and I hope it's proper time to address this. Whatever happens with us people here is gonna happen, it's wherever it goes. I was up there today and I've been up there before. I've got tons and tons of pictures of everything. I've lived there all my life. I grew up there, et cetera, et cetera. That brook that goes into that culvert will never, always has been the same. Every picture I can show you 100 pictures. It comes out into that, round that corner. It's like setting a framing square up there. It comes down and not quite at 90 degrees and hits. Where it hits is, the force is this side of the culvert. The culvert's here and it hits up there, and that's where every picture I've got that's flooded has come out right here. You know, I can show you and show you and show you. I didn't want to bring all the pictures in, and I didn't know what was proper and what wasn't proper.
That's when you say this side, when you're coming down street, it hits on the right side of the.
Comes down before it gets to the culvert,
Yeah.
up above.
Yeah.
It comes around that corner, and you can talk to me till I'm blue or anybody can or whatever, and a lot of people have looked at it, and it's just, nothing's altered. And I'm telling you, my opinion, and I shouldn't shoot opinions out too much, but if that same storm happened tonight, you would see results.
So, Brian,
You would.
just Daddy, you talk about opinions and whatever. Just so you know, guys, in that packet that my father submitted is from an engineer that we hired, went up and took a look at it about the corrections that needed to be made and the resolve and things like that. Since 2021, we've got different pictures of the flooding events. And 2021, as you're going up the road, the majority of the damage to the roads and stuff was to the right-hand side. After 2021, it diverted to the left. In the pictures that I just showed and how that culvert was angled, I don't know, to tell you the truth. I don't want to throw opinions at it, but since 2021's flood damage to 2025's, the water flow has gone over to this side tenfold times. And like I said, I don't want to throw any opinions at it or whatever, but there's the pictures, you know.
But the culvert hasn't changed in that time. The flow has been different.
The culvert direction has changed because when it got washed out, the excavators were up there, and I mean, I physically watched the excavator guy move.
You're talking about
move the
2021, it got
Yes.
changed?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to sit here and dispute and say I know this, I know that, but I wish, regardless of what goes on, I would like to have you, all five of you, whatever it is, come up there and have a decent conversation and look at that culvert. I met with Rachel up there, you know, and all this and that with her and whoever. And I just think that, like I said, that nothing's been altered. It's gonna wear and wear on that corner. Something needs to be done. And I don't have the answers. I don't claim to, but I know that something's not right. When it happens 4 times and 3 major times, one other time it plugged up. I'm gonna be totally honest on the whole subject, but one time it plugged up because of snow got down in there last winter, not this winter, the one before, and it plugged it up. The people who did the condos filled it with snow. I'm not gonna sit and it run down the road, all that crap. And I'm not gonna sit here and paint a rosy picture and try to get something out of this topic, because it's not. Hopefully it's not.
Can I just add that the one change, the road crew did a bunch of work, because Rachel with A&R, wanted them to really clear up, to bring it down to virgin soil. Which my understanding is, I'm not saying it's going to prevent anything in the future, but Rachel and the road crew and the road commissioner feel good that it will reduce risk to future flooding events.
I'm not going to dispute you.
Oh,
It's not going to do any harm, any good, but the problem is still the same.
Right. I just wanted to
It's
just give
yeah,
one more piece of
I recognize
information.
that. You guys are not insinuating Josh or anybody's pulling any crap, or Rachel or anybody. This is my observation. That water that comes around that corner and comes down, the way it comes down is, to me, water doesn't take a 90-degree bend. And it's not 90 degrees, but you'll see what I at least think.
I agree with you, York, that what Josh did in putting up the stone headers on the side, that does help. It's I would call it a first line.
Oh, by my house?
Yes,
Down
by
below?
the house, yep.
Okay.
I'd say that's a first line of
Although
defense.
That wasn't anything that Rachel came up with. That was Josh's.
I had
Oh, it was,
conversation
yeah,
with him
yeah,
on that,
yeah,
and I said,
yeah,
do I need to
yeah.
get the town involved in this stuff? And come down here and have it out? No, do it, Josh.
Yeah.
If Josh told me right now it's snowing 6 inches out there, I'd believe him.
Yeah.
He's a good man. And the whole damn crew was, the truck drivers and whoever. Every one of them is the same. And I appreciate that. I even gave him some water.
I heard that. I've met with Josh and Rachel at the culvert about what she wanted to be done on the work, and I think Josh did everything she wanted and then some.
Whatever.
Yeah,
But I'm not, let me keep repeating myself. I just like someday to, you know.
but to get back to, Ryan, you made the comment that Josh did everything that Rachel wanted. It's to my understanding that culvert is severely undersized and still needs to be replaced. Is that correct?
I think we have a lot of culverts that are undersized that aren't keeping up with climate change.
Yeah.
And it's a real problem. We have, as you know, we can only spend so much money every year. It is high on the list of culverts that need replacement. We've got a lot of culverts in town.
Well, on the same, I'm listening to you and you're right, but on the same scale, I know a little bit about money myself.
Yeah.
From my end of it down here.
I think a Vermont problem has been we wait until a flood and then use emergency management fund money to replace our culverts.
Yeah.
We're trying to get ahead of that. We've been doing culvert replacements pretty much annually. And as I think York has said, we have an inventory and a list, and we're trying to move
Yeah,
forward on
I
it.
understand that. And just, like I said, I remember 1998. I got pictures of that at home, great big pictures of it up above.
So,
98, that was quite a flood.
So we've
Yeah.
we've
So-
had a little bit of patience.
so what I'm hearing, Brian, is that, there is a lot of culverts in town and in the change of the rainstorms and things like that. From what I'm hearing is you guys have no set date on, when that culvert might be replaced.
I think we know where it is on the list, right?
I can share what I think I know, but this is, you know, I will say the culvert list is, I mean, Josh and Charlie work really hard on creating the culvert inventory and what are the priority jobs. This summer's job is Common Road. And that's been in the works for a while. And then the next two, or the next one I think is North Road. And Charlie, Josh, and I and others have talked about, you know, the importance of butternut. And the process for that is to move forward with an H&H study, which with Rachel coming out and all she's done has been a great like first step, but that's not an H&H study. And that's the next step to before you decide what kind of culvert or what kind of instrument's going to go in this place. And I think that's an important step that I'm happy to move forward with.
Well, we don't need no definite answer by any means. We're just shooting the breeze.
Yeah, we're just shooting the breeze for a plan, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Moving forward, because as, you know, Brian pointed out, it's been a year. And, you know, as you mentioned, climate change and rain and things like that. And then it's just a matter of another flood event keeps coming. You know, we can't throw good money after bad, you know what I mean? Try to get it done.
Yeah, and just from my perspective, like I've just finished my first year on the select board, but I've seen a lot of focus this past year on trying to, you know, plan for extra revenues. We created an all hazard reserve, an all hazard fund at town meeting, and are placing a portion of the local option tax funds into it, which will help. And, you know, recognizing that this is a big need and that we'd prefer to do it proactively. And so that's been my observation in my first year on the select board. And I think that everyone is paying attention because, you know, my driveway washed out in the same storm last year and it never had done that before. So it's definitely a problem.
Yeah. I hope I didn't cut you off.
Oh, no, no.
But the other thing I'd like to point out is this down back to my old house is 120 feet or whatever to the bank. And it washed it all out down that 80-foot bank we replaced just recently. But it got so damn close to that septic, it was, anybody could call where it was, didn't know where the septic was, you know? And I recall 3 weeks after when I came in here, I don't want to go backwards in my thoughts or be bitter. I asked, what happens if that septic ruptures? Thank God it didn't. You know, it's just all I can say. I'm so grateful it didn't. I put plastic over the bank all winter and everything to repel the erosion. And we got through it, but some good things did happen. You know, we get into that septic, I had the neighbors on my butt. And my neighbors have been very, very good about this whole situation. So that's about all I
So,
have to say.
Just something real quick. It's, I've seen what my father's gone through the last year, the worry about everything. And you guys have obviously are volunteers, you got jobs, other things. Thank you for your time and commitment. Something that's been challenging is the communication. When the select board was up there last time, I think if you guys remember going forward, my main concern was staying in communication. And you guys have been very busy with a lot of things. I have been too. So we're equally at fault for not having good communication. You know, hopefully you guys talk about this a little bit later on, but when's the next step that we can get together and talk about the next step, about maybe a little bit more about when the culvert's going to get replaced, maybe a little bit more about whatever my father would like to talk about. you know. I think that no matter what anybody's opinions are, I think we are all owe each other that in fairness for the communication.
Yeah, I'd like, it's been 10 months.
Yeah.
And from my end of it, that speaks for itself. Me, you, everybody. The situation's 10 months. And I'd kind of like to get somewhere.
I think because if everybody's okay to have different opinions and different thoughts and everything on it, and it's always okay to express them, it's just that there's other options how to deal with things, you know what I mean? And just so you guys have your options, we have ours, and the most number one thing is to work as a team or a community, you know what I mean? And I know, so it's just a sense of direction in your thoughts. It would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I don't,
Timely manner.
we wanted to hear from you tonight.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And-
yeah,
And
yeah, and I'm not,
understand what you're,
yeah.
haven't gotten anything in writing, wanted to be able to digest that
Mhm.
and talk among ourselves, but we don't have no desire to draw this out over
Yeah.
another 10 months, that's for sure.
Exactly, exactly.
And Tripp, you and I, we've met a couple times.
Mhm.
We then will say we need to meet again. I send you an email, I never hear, and then
Yeah.
you send me one and you never hear.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just the way it's been. I'm sorry
Okay,
about
instead
that.
of 10 months, how about 10 days?
And
10 hours.
10 minutes?
that's why I say communication is hard. And, you know, I ran a department for the town for a little while. I know probably an eighth of all the stuff you guys need to go through. So, you know, I appreciate you guys' work and stuff, and that's why I'm saying it's communication.
Yeah, I do believe that York has had an open, you know, an open door, has answered the phone.
Oh, yeah.
every time. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think communication,
Yeah, I don't want to speak for my dad, and forgive me for saying this. York has been an excellent communicator. But the thing about it is to a degree, York, doesn't make any decisions. You know, am I correct with saying that, York? You know, he's a communicator, you know what I mean? And he's been an
I
excellent
pretend
communicator.
to make.
Yeah, but, well, there's certain amount of decisions that you can't make, you know what I mean?
I think there's certain ones he doesn't want to make.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we're for.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll go with that.
Yeah,
So-
and I will
You
say
don't
From,
my perspective, York, you can attest to this, that whenever I saw York, especially the couple months after that meeting, you know, I said, hey, what's going on with that? And I think there was some insurance applications that were
Mhm.
filled out together, right? And some other resources shared, and then you're right, we, you know. got
And I didn't
pretty
think it was
busy.
necessary. I can't afford it, couldn't do it anyways. You'd have to take my house to get a loan for all this stuff. The way the price was initially, you'll see in there.
Yeah.
And that is not accurate, what you see from that one contractor. It was apple and oranges. They didn't have the back drainage done and the stay mat done, the damage from over the bank. All that dirt came down. It's just like pavement out back, and the water does not, there's pipes underneath there, filter pipes for 100 feet of them buried. And it closed that all off, so it'd be all runoff.
So like tonight,
We gotta dig that up and put it in proper now, redo it.
so like tonight in this rainstorm, it goes towards his garage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's continued work.
So we need drainage.
Larissa, did you have something you were gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say that from what I've heard from everybody, it sounds like the next step is teeing up the HMH study. So what I would ask in the interest of maintaining sort of communication on progress is that York put getting that HMH study, you know, in the pipeline, and reach out in whatever way you deem the sort of best way to communicate. Is that email? Is that phone? Like my understanding was that email is maybe not the best way to let folks know. Is that accurate, or?
This is a pretty good way right here. Human beings looking at each other and talking,
And
whatever that would be and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I think, and I'm open for anything.
And I can always help facilitate this.
If I work with Josh Rogers and Charlie Goodman and make sure we're in a plan, and then work with A&R and all the other parties for an H&H study, I'm happy to move forward if that's the direction we want to go. And I think, and that does take time because we had 2 H&H studies for 2 culverts last year that were washed out in the flood from 2024. They take a few months.
Mhm.
But that is the required next step. So, and again, Charlie Goodman, Josh Rogers and I have spent a lot of time talking about butternut in the culvert and where it is on the list and acknowledging, yes, it's one of many culverts that need attention. And it's a lot of pressure. I mean, you can see it on Josh and Charlie's face. They're like they almost like hold you by the shoulders. They don't do this, but like there is so much work that needs to be done. And that's every town in Vermont. It's not just unique to Waitsfield.
Sure.
And it's a hard place to be in, knowing that there's things that our budget cannot accommodate everything and it takes time.
Well, we ended up here anyways.
Yeah, I hear you.
Tonight.
I hear you.
And then it's just, and it's not, we'll review this, spend the time that we need to do it and get back to you as soon as we can.
Thank you.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank
And, you know, I just don't understand why somebody would want to be a select board member. The amount of time that you guys put in away from your families and all that stuff. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you both.
Thank you. Thanks, Fred.
Take care.
Yeah.
So, got two issues for executive session. One, we put the appointments for personnel matters, and the second one is to deal with possible litigation. A motion?
Need a finding?
It's 3.
Yes, we need a finding first. I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't either.
It's,
I don't.
it's,
All I know is that Mariah
It's
always
the
said that we
three.
needed to.
you
So
got
I'd
it.
make a motion
Yes.
to make a finding that, well, do we make the motion to enter executive session first and then the finding, or?
I don't know.
However,
No, it's finding and then executive session, but honestly,
Well, to discuss potential litigation under BSA, 1 BSA, section 313, 1E, A1E, that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body at a substantial disadvantage. And so the board, I guess the board finds that premature public disclosure would put the town at a substantial disadvantage. So do that one first?
yes. Is that your motion?
Yes.
Second?
well, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the
Aye.
second reason we're gonna go into executive session.
Yes, is pursuant to 1 VSA, section 313, a 3, which is the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee. So essentially personnel, and similarly, premature general public knowledge would, wait, we don't need to make that for that.
Yeah,
one.
that's right.
Don't need to make that one for that. Sorry.
So that's the motion.
Yes.
Second?
That was
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey,
John, thank you.
We're learning. We'll get
Thanks,
it.
John.
You wanna take a couple minutes?
I'm gonna take a
Yeah.
break.
Recording stopped.
Maybe go grab some water. I'll be right back. Might still have a voice by the end of this.
The cookies. I have bites of the cookies, and they are about as good as a chocolate chip cookie. Usually, I haven't tried them in a while. Let's test that theory. I would say the best. But good.
No, I'm sugar free. I'm already sweet enough, I guess.
Yes, you are.